very good afternoon and a very good evening to you, the good one of the tube. Hope you're today, hope you're feeling grand and all is well in your world, as usual. Hello everybody, hi. We're on another Q&A Wednesday, everybody. I certainly hope you enjoyed the extremely long intro jam. Felt like it was 5 seconds long for me, and then I looked at the camera, I was like, oh, 7 minutes, yeah. Okay, didn't feel like that long. Anyway, hope you enjoyed it, and I was trying to channel a certain, another Dave. I bet you couldn't tell which one. Anyway, moving along. Q&A Wednesday already. Question 1. Let's get to question 1 immediately. Dive in the deep end, shall we? Yes, shall we? Yes, let's do it, Dave. Get on with it. He's always dawdling. Anyway, question 1. What are your favourite or must-hear albums by Jimi Hendrix, Peter Green, Rory Gallagher and Paul Kossoff? And could you name a song or two that inspired you? Okay, so with the aid of visual aid, that made no sense whatsoever, with the help of visual aid, I'll get there in the end. I have these. Okay, so Jimi Hendrix, the Band of Gypsies album. There's a reflection from the LCD screen of the camera. But the Band of Gypsies album that he recorded between New Year's Eve 69 and 1970 at the Fillmore East this is my favourite. It's only 6 songs on this album, but this is possibly my favourite Jimi record, CD, album of all time. Just because it's got Machine Gun on it more than anything, but it's also got Message to Love, Power to Love, Changes, which is a Buddy Miles track, but it sounds immense in this format. Who Knows? I mean, Who Knows is an incredible song. So this is one of the albums I would recommend from Jimi Hendrix, is the Band of Gypsies album, recorded live at the Fillmore East. Because Machine Gun is next level guitar playing that no one will ever reach. I just don't think anyone could... I just don't think it's possible to reach the height and the emotional intensity of Machine Gun because of what was going on at that period in time and how the way Jimi felt about things and the way Jimi was just otherworldly in more than one way. There is just something about Machine Gun. And also I recommend the Fillmore East DVD live footage. If you can watch the live footage of Jimi playing Machine Gun, the black and white footage, you just watch it and you're just like, I don't understand. I don't understand what he's doing. I to this day don't understand what he's doing. It's just... I don't think we're meant to understand Jimi that much, that deeply, because there's just something about... He's got his eyes closed, he's got his head slightly back, and he's just playing. And it's just coming out of him. Whatever, all that anger and aggression and all that sadness and sorrow and all that, what was going on at that period in time in 1969 to 1970 in the US and with Vietnam and everything. Machine Gun is just so... It's the soundtrack. It's just that. It's so perfect. And it has a lot of relevance even today, Machine Gun. It still has a lot of relevance today. So that'd be the song that I would recommend. And that'd be the album I'd recommend. The Band of Gypsies. I do love Are You Experienced, Axis Borders Love, Electric Ladyland, all that, South Saturn Delta and all that kind of thing. But for me, Jimi's playing, his tone, he's playing, the way the band play, the way they react to each other and musically connect is just on another level. So, the Band of Gypsies Fillmore East live show is the one I recommend from Jimi. It's just unreal. It really is. I love it. It's just one of those albums that I love to play along to, and if I listen to, I have to kind of like take a bit of a break afterwards. Okay, so what was the next one? Peter Green next. Peter Green. Okay, I have 2 Peter Green albums because one's Fleetwood Mac and one is Peter Green. The Fleetwood Mac album I would recommend immensely, and the one that inspired me the most and the one I love the most of that is Then Play On, which looks like that. And you can see the LCD screen there in that guy's face. That's not good. There you go. Ha! Yeah. So Then Play On is just incredible. And it's really cool that like some of the songs are written by Danny, some of the songs are written by Peter, and it's just incredible. Did Jeremy Spencer have any input on this album? I don't know if he did or not. Let me have a look quick. No, not really. No, Jeremy Spencer didn't appear on this album at all. I don't think it was kind of his thing. He was going more down the Elmore James route, and Then Play On is definitely branching out from that. So, Then Play On is one of my Peter Green albums that just kind of like I love, and is my favourite. And the song on this album that always inspires me, and just it's a song that kind of like in the right moment can bring you to tears on this album. It really can. It's a song called Closing My Eyes, and this on here is just, it's Peter Green at his most vulnerable. It really is. I mean, even more so than something like Man of the World, I think. Even more so than kind of like some of his blues playing in Got a Good Mind to Give Up Living. Closing My Eyes on Then Play On album is absolutely heartbreaking to listen to. But at the same time, it's uplifting in a sad way. It's bizarre, but it's absolutely gorgeous. So, Then Play On, Closing My Eyes. Absolutely stunning. Gorgeousness. And the other Peter Green album is The End of the Game. Which is, it's just immense. It's just immense. It's 6, like, instrumental tracks, near enough. Pretty much. And, it's just incredible. Incredible guitar playing, incredible guitar tone. It's a shame that he was completely kind of lost, really, in it. But at the same time, it is a good thing, but it's not a good thing, if that makes any sense. It's The End of the Game album. I can't even recommend a song off that album. This is an album you put on and you just let it play. You know, you don't go to pick out a certain track. You just put it on and you just let it play because it's just incredible and it's just stunning. So yeah, Then Play On is the Peter Green album I'd recommend. The Fleetwood Mac album is definitely Then Play On. The Peter Green album is End of the Game. Okay, and Rory Gallagher has to be my favourite album of Rory. Photo Finish. It's just, Photo Finish is my favourite Rory album. I just connected. When I got into Rory, I went out immediately and bought all his albums. The ones I could get hold of at the time. I've gradually bought them over the years in the local music shop. But Photo Finish was the one that kind of really hit me right in the face. Photo Finish was, and I just love it. And the song that inspires me the most on Photo Finish, apart from all of them, the most important song I would think is Fuel to the Fire, track 9. Fuel to the Fire is just insane. It's just so good. There is just so much in it. There is so much in Fuel to the Fire. So yeah, Rory Gallagher, Photo Finish, Fuel to the Fire, unreal. And Paul Kossoff. Okay, so my favourite Paul Kossoff album is that one. It's just called Free. And it's just immense. It really is immense. And there's songs like, Songs of Yesterday, I'll Be Creeping, Woman, Free Me, and Morning, Sad Morning, which is an Ace song. Morning spells in morning. It's really, really cool. But this is a great album, and that, I swear, the Chili Peppers in the Give It Away video copied that album cover for a certain shot with Anthony, if you know what I mean. In the Give It Away album, in the Give It Away video, there's a shot that looks like that, and I'm pretty sure they're referencing this album. If they're not, then it's a very, very close thing, if you know what I mean. The song that inspired me on this, though, is Free Me, which is just extremely... Free Me, Morning, Sad Morning, Mouthful of Grass, Lying in the Sunshine, Trouble on Double Time. There's so many great songs on this album. It's just immense, and I love this album to bits. This is so cool. It really is a stunning album. So that'd be the thing. I would recommend Free Me, though, out of all of them, because Free Me has just got this really... It's Paul Kossoff in a very, very, again, like Peter Green in Close My Eyes, a very vulnerable state. It's very clean guitar playing, and there's so much expression in his playing in Free Me. It's just unreal. So yeah, that'd be the Paul Kossoff album. Okay, so So I hope that answers your question with the help of visual aid. Yeah. So hope that's a question. Gonna move on to question 2 now. So question 2 is, how is the solo recorded in the Red Hot Chili Peppers song Stadium Arcadium? Okay, the Stadium Arcadium guitar solo is a bit weird because I don't know how to explain it. It's not a phaser. It's really weird. It's John ended up doing it after Stadium Arcadium. Excuse me, quite a lot on the Imperium. And what it is, it's recording to tape. You're able to kind of manipulate the tape in a very strange way. So instead of just normal backwards guitar, which you know is like this, what you're able to do is get that kind of lead in with tape. You can manipulate the tape to kind of like lead into the solo, and I forget how he said he did it now. I totally forgot. There is an interview with John talking about how he did it, because they got the producers from Electric Ladyland in to come and explain how to do kind of tape phasing and stuff like that. And what it is before the actual note is played, you manipulate the tape so it rolls into it. So it's kind of like preempting it almost. You're not playing backwards, but you get that kind of backwards effect coming into the note forwards. This is really hard to explain. I think there might be a phaser on it as well, but I'm not 100% sure on that. It doesn't sound like a phaser. I think it's just the way the tape's been manipulated to do it. I can't remember how he did it. Hang on. Right. So it's all to do with tape. You can't do it on analog. You can't do it on digital. Sorry, you have to do it on tape. You have to record on tape to get this effect. And you record it. You record something, and then so he would have recorded the guitar solo, and then they go back and they manipulate the tape. So before the notes, the tape is kind of preempting it. Have you ever heard like backwards guitar on a Beatles song or something, where you kind of like hear like kind of comes in and cuts off? It's like that, but what it is, it's the first note he plays. So say he plays an F sharp, the note is actually coming in before he plays the note, so it's this kind of like weird kind of like it's kind of like that. It's kind of like leading in, and then because it's technically before the note, it preempts what's coming next. It's kind of almost like foretelling the future. This is really hard to explain, and I don't think I'm doing a very good job of it. There is an interview with John Frusciante talking about it, and I don't know where it is, so I do apologise, but he does talk about it at length, and it's quite a mind-boggling thing that they did to get that sound, because they used it quite a bit on the album, and then John went upon using it on the Imperium quite a lot. You can hear it on certain songs where like his vocal will come in like that before it actually comes in. It's kind of like preempting. Like I say, it's almost foretelling the future. It's predicting what's going to happen before it happens, so to say. It's really strange. But you can only do it with tape. You can kind of get away with it with digital. What you kind of have to do is kind of like record the note and then let it fade in. You have to kind of like flip it. You have to kind of like reverse it and then let it kind of come in. It's really hard to explain. I'm not the best person to explain how it's done. But there is an interview out there somewhere with John of how to do it. So if you can hunt that down, that'd be great. He's talking all about the Stadium Arcadium album. It could be on that. There's a video of them talking of their favourite songs on Stadium Arcadium, and I think John might touch on it there. I don't know, but that's on a YouTube video. But yeah, if you can hunt that down that interview, he explains it a lot better than I can, because it's technically beyond my brain how I do it, and I don't actually remember how to do it. Not having the luxury of recording to tape, I didn't retain the information. There was no point in me retaining it. So anyway, but yeah, it's something to do with, like I say, it's manipulating tape. So basically, like I say, it preempts the note. So if you're playing an F sharp note, you manipulate the tape so it does this first. So like that. So it'll kind of fade into it, but it's kind of like this weird kind of almost backwards sound. So it does that kind of... does that kind of thing. Like that. It's that kind of really strange kind of growing note kind of sound. So yeah, that was a poor explanation, but I thought, I'll be able to explain that, and then I got to it, it's like, I can't explain this, it's really hard to explain. But yeah, it's all to do with tape manipulation, so you can kind of get away with it with digital stuff, but not really. It doesn't sound the same, it doesn't quite react in the same way. So unless there's a plugin or an effect that does it, I don't know, I don't actually know if there is. But anyway, that's what it is, so it's crazy, but I don't think it's, I don't know if it's a phaser, I think it's tape phasing. But I don't 100% know, to be honest with you. But that's what's going on. It's kind of like, it's like fortune telling, reel-to-reel tape stuff. It's crazy. But anyway, hope it's answered your question, though. Move on to question 3 now. It hasn't answered your question at all, has it? It's just made things more confusing. So I do apologise. But like I say, there is an interview out there somewhere with John where he explains a little bit better about what's happening than I can. Because it's really difficult to explain. But you couldn't tell. Anyway. Moving on, question 3. Okay, question 3. Kind of an interesting one for John Frusciante fans. Because I want to know your opinion on this. What do you think of the way John Frusciante plays on Mother's Milk? I really like the way John plays on Mother's Milk album. I think he overplays, but I think he was pushed into it overplaying. There's a lot of overdubs, and I remember him saying he didn't like doing as many overdubs. But his guitar playing at that peak in time, at that point in time is really technically proficient. Like, he was using his Ibanez's through Mesa Boogies, quite high gain, kind of like, 80s kind of rock sound. And, there's a lot of kind of like those crazy dive bomb harmonic stuff and, all sorts of kind of crazy other stuff. And I think that's John at the peak of his technical ability. I think after that, he kind of moved away from that because he didn't want to be that kind of like, that kind of person. I think he was finding his feet. I mean, you got to think he was only 18 years old at the time, which is just incredible. That talent at 18 years old is just like unreal. And it's sad we don't kind of hear about, people with that kind of talent at 18 years old these days don't get as many chances as they did back then. But anyway, that's the state of the music industry, and that's another video altogether. But anyway, I feel that's the kind of peak of John's technical ability. I really like his playing, but I prefer his playing later on for Blood Sugar Sex Magic, where he became massively unorthodox. And, then later on with his melodic playing in Californication, by the way, Stadium Arcadium, and his solo stuff. I prefer his more melodic, slower playing to his more frantic, crazy playing of Mother's Milk, which is quite frantic and mental. But really cool. But yeah, I do like it, but it's not my go-to album, Mother's Milk. I do like it, but it's not my go-to to listen to kind of like John. But I do like it. I like his Mother's Milk era live guitar tone when he went to Strats instead of the Ibanez's, but I don't really like the tone of the album. It's not really one of my favourite sounds. The Ibanez's and the Mesa Boogies don't really do it for me so much, and John went to Strats and Marshalls soon after, and it just became more of a cohesive sound with the Chili Peppers. I like it more. And became his, it just gradually increased to kind of like become him. Okay, so you also asked, do you think if he had not entered the world of drugs, Blood, Sugar, Sex, Magic would have been more complex guitar-wise? I don't think the world of drugs has got anything to do with if John entered or not. John was on drugs from day dot. During Mother's Milk, drugs surrounded the Chili Peppers. Read Anthony Kiedis' book. Drugs played a massive role in that band. They always did. Anthony Kiedis is just like, reading Anthony Kiedis' book, it gets kind of like tedious how many times he falls off a wagon and it's like, then I relapsed, and then I relapsed, and then I got clean, then I relapsed, and I got clean, and I relapsed, and he's just a lucky man. And the same with John. John's lucky as well, but I don't think drugs have got anything to do with John's going differently. I mean, in all fairness, I think Blood, Sugar, Sex, Magic is a more technical album than Mother's Milk. Whereas Mother's Milk is straight ahead rock, funk kind of guitar. Blood, Sugar, Sex, Magic is more technically advanced. Not because he's playing more or he's playing faster. It's just there's more weird guitar playing. You know, the chorus to Funky Monks. Weird. That's really weird guitar playing. I mean, who would have thought of going like, you know, go to A minor, A major, C major, and then these what is it? E flat, which is E flat to D. That bit. So A, C, E, flat, D, then F, and then open E. You know, it's a strange pattern. It doesn't make sense really, but like that's the thing. So I reckon I wouldn't say drugs have got anything to do with it. I think that was just, you know, that was always part and parcel of the Chili Peppers. You know, going crazy and being that way. You know, they were rock stars, and that's what rock stars did and could do back then. You wouldn't be able to get away with it now. You know, you just wouldn't. You know, but back then I think that was to do with it. But like, what did you say? Sorry. Yeah, do you think if John had not entered the world of drugs, he was already in the world of drugs? You know, I mean, I can imagine he was even in the world of drugs before joining the Chili Peppers. I can imagine he smoked quite a bit of weed, but I don't know. But I can imagine he did. You know, and when he joined the Chili Peppers, he was immediately thrust upon him. You know, he'd be 18 years old in one of the biggest upcoming bands in the world, touring the world. It's gonna find you. You know, and John was only too really willing to jump into it, you know, because that's, you know, he wanted to be a rock star, you know, and then after Blood, Sex, Magic, he didn't want to be, and it was a bit weird, and it kind of went to his head a bit in Mother's Milk. I think he said that, and I don't think it has anything to do with World of Drugs. World of Drugs was already with him, and you know, I think that's the way it was. You know, and it just, you know, he wasn't clean before he joined the Chili Peppers, and he definitely wasn't clean during his time during Mother's Milk and Blood Sugar Sex Magic. There was no way on earth he was clean. You know, the only time he was clear-headed was, you know, Californication era. You know, and then By the Way, and then and then Stadium Arcadium. You know, and even up to today, maybe. You know, I know he smokes again now. You see him smoke, and I've seen him drink again. But as for drugs, we'll never know. We don't know. He's a very private fellow, is our John. But yeah, I personally think, like I say, technically wise, I think Blood Sugar Sex Magic out trumps Mother's Milk for technical ability, because it's just weird. Some of the chords he uses are just not normal chords. They're you know, that kind of you know, and guitar solo is like, oh. On a fretless guitar, that's really hard on a fretted guitar, let alone a fretless guitar, which he actually recorded it on. But that's difficult. That solo is difficult to play. You know, it's, you know, there's a lot in that. There's a lot in that. It looks simple, but it's not. It's really difficult. And the way John attacks the guitar as well in that. But yeah, I think personally that Blood Sugar Sex Magic is more technically advanced, and I'll say at that point in time, I dread to think what they were taking. But yeah, the World of Drugs has got nothing to do with it, I don't think. It's just, you know, that was the scene at the time. You know, that's what was going on. You know, you read Slash's book. You know, Slash's book is incredible to read. You know, even Eric Clapton's book, talking about heroin, his heroin abuse and stuff like that. It's like, good gravy. You know, drugs, you know, were part and parcel of being a rock star back then, or a musician back then. It was just, you know, not so much these days. I don't think you'd get away with some of the stuff that they were able to get away with back then. These days, I think you'd be tarred and feathered and thrown off a cliff these days if you did that. But which is a bit of a shame, really, because it makes for some hysterical stories and talkings in when these people talk. It's brilliant. But I don't condone it in any way, shape, or form. I think it's horrific. But you know, if you read Slash's autobiography, to digress slightly, Slash's autobiography, he went to like this kind of like island retreat, and he was high on something, and he was hallucinating that these tiny little alien like predator like creatures were trying to get him, and he ran naked across a golf course trying to escape them. And they eventually found him hiding in like a shed behind a lawnmower naked. It's just the most, it's hysterical. Absolutely hysterical story. I mean, that is horrific. That is, when you break it down to its actual core point, of he was that wasted and that scared of what was going on. He was what he was seeing, his hallucination. It made him act that crazy. It's scary, but at the same time, it's really funny. But it's not. It's weird. It's like a really kind of like dark sense of humor kind of thing. But yeah, drugs is the whole subject onto itself, which I don't really ever want to talk about because I don't agree with it. I don't feel it's kind of like massively important to being a productive musician. I don't feel it's important to being a good musician. Jimi Hendrix only wrote the best stuff he was because he was on acid. No, I don't agree with that. I don't agree with that at all. And John Frusciante, his best album was Neandra when he was like doped up on heroin. It's like, well, actually, John has actually said Neandra was actually recorded during Blood Sugar Sex Magic when he wasn't actually on heroin. He was just smoking weed. It's a bit, I don't agree that drugs are kind of like, you got to be kind of like, this tortured rock star on drugs to be kind of like a really kind of like productive musician. And it's like, Stone Gossard puts it the best. Stone Gossard from Pearl Jam. In the Pearl Jam 20 documentary, they're talking about Andy Wood. And Stone Gossard says you can't be a junkie and be super productive. And I totally agree with that. You can't be. It's just not possible. It'll get you one way or another. It might start out being okay, but eventually it'll burn you out. So it's not a good thing. And like I said, I don't endorse that kind of thing anymore. I don't endorse it because I don't agree with it. It's like anything that gets in the way of your ability to play or come up with things or this and the other is just it's in the way. But anyway, I'm waffling. I need a drink. But yeah, that's the whole subject onto itself, everybody. I'm tangenting off there. Makes for some interesting stories, but I don't condone it. I can't condone it. It's just not cool. It's not cool. Okay. To me, anyway. That's just my opinion on the whole thing. So yeah, I hope that's answered your question. But like I say, I do think a Blood Sugar Sex Magic guitar playing is a lot more complex than Mother's Milk. Mother's Milk is straight ahead funk rock guitar, whereas Blood Sugar Sex Magic is something onto itself. It's really its own thing. The tone, the way he plays, everything about it is its own thing. It's quite incredible. Okay, so how about a question? Moving on, question 4 now. Okay, so question 4 is: Will you be doing a How Many Tones video on Peter Green? I want to, but I can never settle with Peter Green. I've been hunting for a Peter Green tone in the CR120 for literally years. Since I started I wanted to do the Peter Green tone in like the first couple of episodes of How Many Tones Can You Get, but I just couldn't. I was never satisfied. It doesn't have this. It doesn't have that. So I'd go to another amp, and then that didn't have it. And it drew me to a conclusion that Peter Green's tone is almost impossible to get. The dynamic that he played with and the tone he played with is almost impossible. But I will be doing one, and I'll show you as close approximation as I can get. I might do it soon, actually. It'd be nice to do another one of those videos, and especially to do it on Peter. But it's really hard to get a really good approximation of Peter's tone. It's really, really difficult. There's something he had that just cannot be replicated. A lot of these kind of guitarists, like Jimi Hendrix and Jeff Beck and I say John Frusciante and Dave Gilmour, they all have something that you cannot quite replicate, and it's them. It's being them. It's the way they play, the way they make the instrument react, the way they hear, and the way they just play. It's just really hard to do. And Peter Green is such a difficult guy to replicate tonally. It's really difficult. All the times I've played Peter Green, I'm like, it doesn't sound right. It just doesn't feel right. It doesn't, the dynamics aren't there. The tone isn't quite there. The roundness and the fatness isn't quite there. The aggressiveness isn't quite there. It's really difficult to get a handle on Peter's sound. It really is difficult, but I will get like an approximation video. It's not going to be, it's going to be a bit at 65, a bit, I don't know what a bit is, but about, it's going to be about 65, 70%, if that, you know, I mean, that might be giving myself too much credit. But I say, well, I will get to it at some point, you know, hopefully soon, but it is crazy. Peter's tone is giving me nightmares because it's so hard to kind of like get a close approximation to it. It's really, really difficult. And it's not just the CL, not this CL120. I've tried it with all my amps. And like, you can get close, but it's not, it's always missing something. It's always missing a really key element, either the dynamics or the aggressiveness or the roundness or the warmth. There's always one of these elements that's missing when you try and play like Peter. He's a nightmare. He's an absolute nightmare. And the only person who can sound like Peter Green is Peter Green. And that's the thing. Like, you know, you can get approximations on other guitarists like Dave Gilmour and Jeff Beck and Jimi Hendrix. But Peter Green is a nightmare. The man had one sound, pretty much, for his entire career, especially live. And it's almost impossible to get it. Even if you had his amp, his guitar, his leads, his, you know, he didn't really have any pedals. I think he had a wah-wah at one point, but that's about it. You know, and a reverb. You could have his entire setup and it still won't get you anywhere near. There's some kind of magic in Peter that, sadly, I don't think will ever be reproduced. It's very, very sad. He was the only one who had the key to it, so to say, that door. And that door, I feel, is forever locked and closed. But yeah, I will do it at some point, definitely, and we'll get the CR120 fired up and we'll give it a go, and we'll see how close we get, and you can tell me what you're see what you think, and you know, hopefully I might be able to prove, like, you know, well, not prove, but kind of like you might be able to hear, like, you know, what I mean, like, you know, when you go for one element of Peter Green's tone, there's always one that gets left behind that you need as well. You can never get a full house of them, you know. There's always one missing. It's a nightmare. It's an absolute nightmare. Okay, so yeah, I will be doing that at some point, hopefully soon. Okay, I'm going to move on to question 5 now. I hope that's the question. Question 5. Okay, question 5 is going to be a bit of a difficult one to answer, so bear with me a sec. Actually, I'll tell you what. I'm going to move question 5 to question 6. I'm going to answer question 6 now, which is technically question 5. Okay, so question 5, before I get to the last question, which is going to be a bit of a ramble. Okay, so question 5 is, I'm having trouble understanding the direction of the curve you use. I'm having trouble understanding the direction of the curve you use on your guitar's neck relief. Could you explain? I'm not sure how I set up my guitar's video. I don't really understand. Okay. My neck, I always have quite a bit of relief in the neck. I don't like straight necks. I don't really like slight relief. I like it quite, you know, quite bowed. But the bow is always going upwards. So what I mean, like, my relief, it doesn't go back bow. You never want your guitar to back bow. It's not a good thing for your guitar to if you look down your neck and it's going that way, you know, you get fretting out and all sorts. But you get fretting out on a vintage style Strat regardless. But you never want it to back bow. You never want the neck to be kind of like, you know, the headstock to be kind of like angling towards the ground if you hold the guitar like this. You know, it wants to be coming up or totally flat. And I like my necks to be kind of like leaning upwards. So basically it's kind of like that, if you know what I mean. That's like a drastic kind of like idea of it. But I like it, it's kind of like, you know, to ramp up slowly from the last fret to upwards. I don't like it flat. I don't know if you'll be able to see. I bet you won't be able to, but I don't know if you'll be able to see that. Hopefully, if you use the low E string as a guide, I don't know if you'll be able to see that, but there's an up curve in my neck. I don't know if you'll be able to see it. I'll hold it here for a bit longer. Use the low E string as a reference of a straight line. You might be able to see the curve in the neck. I don't know. I don't know if you can see that. Hopefully you might be able to, but like I say, my neck's curve upwards like that. So kind of like away from me, so to say, but not like that drastic. But like, you know, I like relief on the neck. I just like the sound. I just like the feel of it. It makes the guitar feel slinkier, less tense. I feel when the truss rod's tight and the necks are totally straight, the guitar's a bit like this, and I don't like that. I like it to be a bit more like that, and it's just the way I like it. It just feels better to me, especially if I'm bending or just playing in general. And I like the action really quite high down here. I mean, this is I don't know if you'll be able to see, but this is the action down here. I'm looking at the LCD screen. I hope you'll be able to kind of see, but you can kind of, hopefully you'll be able to kind of see. But I quite like quite high action down here, kind of fairly low at the top end, but kind of low, really quite high down here, so you can really get hold of the string. I don't like super low action down here. It's not Stevie Ray Vaughan high in any way, shape, or form, but it's it's not low. I don't like low action, but anyway, and I don't like straight necks. So yeah, I always have the curve going kind of like that way. So if you're looking at the guitar kind of horizontally like that, the neck goes like that. Smidgen. Hopefully be able to see. So I hope that's a question. Going to move on to final question of the day already. Question 6. What time are we on? We're doing okay. Okay, so final question of the day already. Question 6 is this. And I say this is going to be a bit difficult to answer, so just bear with me. So question 6 is, you have mentioned in other videos you don't like to wear short sleeves. Would you mind explaining why? No, I don't mind explaining why. Simply, but I'm not a comfortable person, full stop, with myself. I have many complexes about the way I am and the way I look, including that up there, which I get a lot of comments about my hair. Why don't you just shave it off? Why don't you get rid of it? You look terrible. It makes you look really old and this, that, and the other. And it's like, it's not as simple as that for me. I wish it was, but it's not that simple for me. And I'll explain why. And it's the same reason I wear long sleeves all the time. And I'm always covered up. For a long time, since my crap days at school, I've had complexes about being, I'm not very tall. I'm quite small. I'm only 5'8". I'm very small. I'm a very small framed person. I'm very small. I'm skinny. There's not much to me. If I turn sideways, I turn 2D. It's as simple as that. So it's my defense mechanism in crowds. Oh, I don't like this. Turn sideways and I disappear. It's great. Anyway, but yeah, being through what I went through at school gave me a complex about myself being really skinny and small. So I did whatever I could to kind of like make myself look any way bigger I could. So I developed this weird complex in school of wearing loads and loads of clothes. So I used to wear like 4 pairs of socks, so I would have bigger feet. I used to wear 2 or 3 pairs of trousers, so I looked like I had bigger legs than I do. I used to wear a t-shirt, a polo shirt, and then my school uniform on top of that to make myself look bigger in my body. And I just tried to make myself look more what I thought was normal at that time, or what I was told was normal, or what people perceived to be normal, because apparently I was weird, and that's why I got picked on, because I was weird. I wasn't normal, Great reason. Gets me angry. It's only recently it's like, who wants to be normal? What is normal? Normal is just a word. It doesn't mean anything. We've all got our own quirks. We're all ourselves to a point. And if anybody thinks you're weird, let them think you're weird. Because they're probably weird to you, and that's just the way it is. That's fine. It's fine to think of people as weird. It's fine to kind of look at them and think you're a bit strange. But you can't say they're wrong for being the way they are. If you don't want people to say the way you are is wrong, why would you tell somebody else they're wrong? It's not fair. Anyway, back to the subject at hand. There's going to be a lot of tangenting here, everybody. I'm going to try and keep my emotions as down as I can, as suppressed as I can, because I'll get angry and a bit upset if I'm not careful, so I've got to be careful. But yeah, so I used to do anything I could to make myself look bigger, and I used to kind of like, lie about certain things and this, that, and the other, and I just try and fit in as much as possible, because that's all I wanted to do, is just kind of like get on and just not have any difficulty, and obviously that didn't happen, and as a result, led me down the road I am now with lovely mental health issues. So thanks to that school. Really appreciate it. But yeah, and it didn't work. On really hot days, I'd end up collapsing from heat exhaustion, which gave me a complex about collapsing, which I still have. If I get too hot, I feel like I get scared. But I still have this habit of covering up because I can't hack it any other way. You'll never see me in shorts. You'll see me in a t-shirt on a rare occasion, but I'm never comfy. I'm not comfy. If I could get away with it, then I will get away with it. I developed a complex about my neck. I don't know why. I got this weird complex, and I still have it to this day, where I used to wear polo shirts all the time. It used to cover my neck. I couldn't hack the idea of my neck being out. It was weird. It was all kind of like my entire body. If I could have got away with wearing a balaclava all the time and gloves all the time, and I was just covered head to toe, so you couldn't even see me, I would have done that. I would have happily done that. Just to blend. If that made me blend in, I would have done that. But nothing I did made me blend in. People were after me. Full stop. It's as simple as that. Anyway, because I'm skinny and everyone wasn't as skinny as I was, I did everything I could to try and get out of the way. And this complex still follows me now. I'm 32 years old, and that happened when I was about 12, 13. I don't know. Year 8, year 9 of secondary school, however old you are at that point. And it's still with me now. It doesn't diminish in any way, shape, or form. I don't like... I don't like it. It makes me uncomfortable. If I could get away with wearing gloves, I would. If I could get away with wearing, like I say, polo shirts again all the time, I would. But I can't. And like I say, if I get away with it's almost like if I get away with not being me, I would, kind of thing. If I could just escape the world, which is definitely something I wanted to do at that point in time. But luckily, I don't feel like that anymore, which I'm very grateful for. But and again, that's another video unto itself. But yeah, that's the reason I never wear short sleeves. That's the reason I always cover up my arms, cover everything as much as I can, because I just don't. I'm not a confident person in any way, shape, or form. I'm not. I'm very shy. I'm very, very kind of keep myself to myself person, because I don't. Simply put, I'm scared of people. It's as simple as that. Because of what happened to me, I'm terrified of humans. I'm terrified of crowds. I'm terrified of being stuck with somebody I don't know what to talk about and being totally quiet. I'm scared of being perceived as a weirdo, but I don't care at the same time. It's weird. You know what I mean? I've got so many issues, and I'm sure quite a few people watching this are the same. And you know what? That's okay. That's what it boils down to at the end of the day. You know what? Yeah, I've got so many issues. I sometimes struggle to leave the house because I'm worried what people are going to think of the way I look. All it takes me sometimes is to look in one direction, see somebody looking at me, and anxiety starts up because I'm worried about what they're thinking about me, or do they think I'm weird, or whatever. What does it matter? But it does. You know what I mean? My brain's going, it doesn't matter. My brain's also going, it really matters. And they're going to come over here and they're going to beat you up because of the way you look. Because you've got long hair, or you're scraggly, you look like a tramp, or whatever. You know what I mean? And when I get comments on YouTube about my appearance, it does strike a nerve. But at the end of the day, it's bring it. Do your worst. I've had worse. You know what I mean? I have been locked in cupboards because of the way I look. For hours. I have been beaten up because of the way I look. I have had people go after me because of the way I look. In school when I was really young, and I didn't know any different. I didn't know what was going on. I didn't know why this was happening to me. I've had all this happen to me. So there's nothing anybody can say on YouTube, trolls even, that anybody can say about my appearance that's really going to affect me anymore, because I've had it all before. So when people do say, oh, you need to cut your hair, you look awful, your long fingernails and all this, that and the other, and you look like a 60-year-old tramp or whatever, I don't care. I don't care. I've had worse. You know, when people constantly say, like, there was one guy who was trolling the channel for a while, especially on live streams. And all he kept saying was bald. Bald, bald, bald. Like, that's going to affect me in any way, shape, or form. So I've been called worse, mate. I've had a lot worse happen to me than somebody calling me bald. I know I'm balding. I'm not bald yet, I've still got hair. But I'm balding. And I know I am. You're just making a general assessment of my look. That's not offensive. You know, that's it's obvious. Look at my head. You know, my hair's receding faster than I can comb it. You know, so what? So what? You know, if you don't like the way I look, that's your problem. It's not mine. If you think it affects my videos, I had one guy put a comment once saying, your videos would sound so much better and look so much better if you wore better clothes. I said, what's that got to do with anything? What do I need to go out and buy the new Fender Tone Cloak? You know, sounds like an amazing product. Fender, I'm calling on you, the Fender Tone Cloak. Put it over your amp, put it over you, it makes you sound better. Anyway, yeah, what's the way I look got to do with anything at the end of the day? You know, I like the comments where the people say, you look like Jethro Tull or Martin Barr. It's like, yeah, I like that. That don't bother me in the slightest. But when people kind of make disparaging remarks or kind of like, try and like push me down just because of the way I look, it's like, you know, so what? So what? What are you actually going to do about it? Are you going to come to my house and cut my hair for me in the night and put me in different clothes? I'd like to see you try. You know, you'll get a Telecaster around your head. You know, and that's my attitude towards trolls on YouTube. It's like, what are you going to do about it? You know, I'm not going to change the way I am just because you don't like it. I am the way I am, and that's, you deal with it, or you just don't watch. You know, if you're going to leave a comment like that's really negative about my appearance or me in general, why did you watch the video in the first place? You know, it's a funny thing. It's a funny thing, but this is all the reason why I am why I am. You know, at the same time as I don't care, I do care, and it bothers me. And it upsets me that people kind of like can be that kind of like judgmental straight off the bat just because of the way somebody looks, or because they might look a bit different or act a bit weird or whatever. You know, there must be a weirdo. I'm going to heckle them, or I'm going to abuse them mentally and verbally on whatever, you know, in person or online or whatever. You know, it's bullying one way or another, and I don't agree with it one bit because, you know, I've been at the end of my rope with being bullied. I've been to the point where I'm like, I have been to the end of a rope where I've had a gun in my mouth, ready to pull the trigger, and it has been loaded. It's as simple as that. So nothing any troll can say on YouTube will push me to that level again, because I've been there, and I've come back from it. And if I can come back from it, everyone can come back from it. It takes a very small person to belittle people. And it's normally a person who's just not happy with themselves, full stop. And that's, you know, that's their problem. That ain't my problem. You know, my problem is getting up every day and finding a reason to actually exist, because that is difficult sometimes. And it's difficult for quite a lot of people. And quite a lot of people I've spoken to through YouTube find that difficult as well. Finding a reason to be here. So having little idiots go around thinking they're big and hard because they can say what they want with no consequence, you know, makes me really angry. Really angry. You know, it does make you want to go on a vigilante spree. You know, not to be funny. You know, because it does. I mean, you know, I'll tell you a story one day. But not now. But this is the reason why I cover up. Because I was bullied. Because I was given complexes about myself. You know, because being myself wasn't good enough to people. You know, I was too weird. I was too small. I was too skinny. I liked sitting at home playing Resident Evil instead of going out and chasing girls or drinking. I like, you know, as soon as I found the guitar, I liked sitting at home playing Resident Evil and playing guitar. That's weird, man. What's wrong with you? You know? I got abuse for everything. I couldn't be right. No matter what I did, I was never right in school. If I told, I was punished. If I kept my mouth shut, I was punished. If I went along with it, I was punished. You know what I mean? So all these little complexes are what makes me me. And I've grown to accept them, and I'm grown to accept that I'm always going to be uncomfortable around people, and I'm never going to be Mr. Confident, because I'm not, you know. And that's fine, in a way, you know what I mean? It makes me sad, because it makes me think, like, you know, what would things be like otherwise? But, you know, you can't think that way when you're here now. You can't go back in time and change stuff. You can't go back in time and say, you know, this, that, and the other. It doesn't work that way. You are what you are, and things that have happened to you, and now you just have to deal with it. You know, one way or another, you are what you are, and there's nothing you can do about it. You know, things that happen to you, good, bad, or ugly, happen to you, and there's nothing you can do about it, and it's heartbreaking sometimes, and it kills you. But it is what it is. You know, you can't change the past. As much as most of us would like to, you can't. And it all leads to you. And this is why the guitar is such an important thing to me, because this is my reason for being here. You know, if you took this away and said you can't play guitar again, then I don't want to be here. It's as simple as that. Because playing the guitar gives me a release that nothing else ever has. And I'm so grateful to the guitar. And this is why I always say the guitar found me. I didn't find it, because I didn't find it. It found me at the right time. And I was looking for something at that time, and it found me. And as a result, here we are. You know, I'm getting all funny. But yeah, the guitar does mean everything to me. It really does. And I'm getting all funny now. But like I say, you know, trolls of YouTube, you can do what you want. It's not gonna affect me in any way, shape, or form anymore. I've had worse. Just because trolls write hurtful comments doesn't mean anything. I'll just press delete. Who cares? Who cares what they think? Their opinion does not matter to me. People who watch this channel for the right reasons, your opinion means more to me than anything. It really does. The people who support this channel, you're my reason as well for being here. You know, the guitar, you, my family, all these are reasons to keep going. Even when you literally are down to your last ebb and you're just like, literally, why? Why? What have I got to give? You know, you have to think and just reevaluate and just look. There's always a reason. There's always a reason to continue. There is a reason. No, just going off and doing yourself in is not the answer. There is always a reason to continue. There's always something. There's got to be. I mean, that's the way I think anyway. I mean, it doesn't necessarily, unfortunately, it doesn't necessarily come across that way to some people. And it really, really breaks my heart. But there is always a reason. You've just got to find it. And sometimes it just takes you to some very, very dark, nasty places. But you've got to kind of plumb the depths of your soul, so to say. You know, lack of a better word, and sounded kind of a bit cheesy. But like I say, you know, this channel is everything to me. And you lot are everything to me. And this guitar is everything to me. And my pedals and my amps. And making music. And my family. And you know, they're all... If that's not enough of a reason, then what is? You know what I mean? Everyone's got something worth hanging around for. Everyone. Even if it's small, you've still got a reason. So anyway, I've nearly run out of time on the camera now, so I'm going to have to stop. But I could talk about that forever. But like I say, the one reason I cover myself up all the time is just because I'm not comfortable in my own... I'm just not comfortable being me. But I am comfortable being me. And in all fairness, doing this channel has made me more comfortable being me than... You know, it's acceptance more than anything. It's a very strange thing, acceptance, and it can lead you kind of like down the wrong road if you're not careful. But, you know, I am what I am. On the video, that's who I am. People say, oh, why do you always act weird? And why do you always, you know, do all these kind of weird things and this, that, and the other, and why do you act that way? It's like, because that's who I am. You know, that's what I am. That's all I've ever been. You know, if you go back and watch family videos, I wouldn't recommend this. When I was young, I was the same person. I'm an idiot. And I like being that way. You know, I mean, I'm a bit, you know, I like to be a bit childish, and I like to be a bit kind of like over the top and a bit hyper, you know, and I like to, exhaust myself being that kind of way, and that's the way I am. But I don't try and, you know, I'm not trying to be anything other than what I am, you know. This is me. I'm scruffy. I'm losing my hair. You know, my sleeves are absolutely always destroyed because I play guitar so much. The grub screws shred the sleeves on my clothes on this arm. You know, and people always say that looks really messy. It's like, I don't care. You know, it happens because I play guitar all the time. Oh, you got dirty fingers. I know, it's because I play guitar all the time. You know. So, you know, making music is why I'm here. You know, that's why I'm here. This is the reason. These things. You know, these are why I'm here, and like I say, you and my family and all that lot. But yeah. So that's the reason I cover up all the time. That's why you never see me wear a t-shirt and sleeves and shorts and stuff like that. You know, I'm not body confident, if you want to call it by a modern term, in any way, shape or form. I never will be again. Just because of what I've experienced and what I've been through and stuff like that, and the way it's damaged me. You know, so it is what it is. It is what it is. So anyway. So, very long-winded answer, but I had to go into kind of quite a bit of detail to kind of make, you know, I could have done the short version, but I don't want to do the short version when it comes down to that, because mental health is a subject that I really care about, and is really important to me to kind of like talk about it. And if I feel that, like, you know, me explaining what I've been through and the fact that I'm still here and able to do what I do and function, if that can make one person out there in the world feel that, you know what, I can do that as well, who's having trouble, then I can't ask for anything better in my life. I really can't. That's just perfect. That's what we want to be doing, you know. We don't want to be looking at people with these kind of like issues, like, because there's no physical symptoms, like, oh, they're all freaks and there's nothing wrong with them, like there is. You just because you don't see it don't mean it ain't there. Anyway, like I say, mental health issues mean a lot to me because I live them every day. You know, I have issues. I had a problem this morning with getting out of bed. You know, and that's just the way it is. You know, that's the way it's going to be for the rest of my life. Like I say, I'm 32 years old. It happened when I was, you know, in year 8 of school, and it's never gone away. So, and it never will go away. And I've come to terms with that and accepting it. And accepting it is just kind of a way to go. But anyway, I'm going to have to go, everybody, because I'm really running out of time. So, I hope you enjoyed this Q&A, everybody. Kind of a bit of a somber note to end on, but hopefully, like I say, it's uplifting in the fact that, like, you know, if you are going through hard times, keep going. It's worth it. It really is worth it. Keep going, please. Find a reason. There's always a reason to keep going. Okay? So, and if that reaches just one person who's having trouble right now, then that's worth it. And yeah, it's worth all my tangenting. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video, everybody. I'll see you again very soon for another one. I'll see you on Friday, actually. I've got a pedal to demo. It's the Loud and Proud pedal by Mad Professor, everybody. This pedal is immense, and I'm going to do a how many tones can you get out of this pedal in that video. So I'm going to go for, like, you know, Slash, Angus Young, Peter Green. See? Told you I was running out of memory. Memory card just ran out. I had to go and fill some space. But anyway, what was I saying? Yes, Friday's video, everybody, is the Loud and Proud pedal by Mad Professor, who has they've kindly gifted this pedal to me, which I just can't thank them enough for. And I've also got to thank Philippa Q, because without her, this wouldn't have happened. So thank you, Philippa. And thank you, Mad Professor, for this. You'll see it on Friday. Like I said, I'm going to do a how many tones with it. Instead of just kind of like going, this is what it does, you know, and this, that, and the other, I thought I'm going to go after, like I said, I'm going to go after the tones of Jimi Hendrix, Angus Young, you know, Slash, Randy Rhoads. All these people, I'm going to try and get these sounds out of this pedal. Iconic sound. Richie Blackmore. Because it's basically a plexi in a box. And I've never, ever played a pedal that feels so much like a plexi, real plexi, than this. I really haven't. It's absolute beast. So yeah, this is Friday's video, everybody. The Loud and Proud pedal by Mad Professor. It's such an awesome pedal. So I hope you'll join me then. It's a monster. It's an absolute monster pedal. And I say, I'm just going to like go for iconic, classic Marshall plexi tones. Because that's what it does. It's just perfect for it. Absolutely perfect for it. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this Q&A, everybody. I say, got a bit funny towards the end there, but like I say, hopefully it kind of like, you know, it'll make sense. And yeah, and I say, I'll see you again very soon for another video, everybody. Have a great morning, afternoon, and good evening. Yeah, goodbye now. See you again. Goodbye. I don't want to salute. What? I ain't saluted in ages. I just saluted. We're not in the army, it's YouTube! Join up to the Dave Simpson Army today. Anyway, goodbye now.